Okay. Likkutei Torah, Drushim L'Sukkot, page 160, first column. We're already at the beginning of Reeh Gimel. Today's class is sponsored by the Moshe Tanian in memory of his son, Farzem Yitzchak ben Moshe. Neshama should have an aliyah. Okay, we're on 160, Reeh Beis. Okay, we're like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 lines into Reeh Gimel. Okay, now Treb is explaining, in order to understand Mimayne HaYeshua, that you draw the water, Shusterman b'sos Mani HaYeshua, you have to understand what it says before that, Kais Yeshua Sessa. David HaMelech is the level of Malchus, which is the level of Kos, and he needs to make sure that when it comes into Hashpah, into the world, it doesn't give Hashpah, it doesn't give sustenance to the world, to evil, so therefore you have to elevate Malchus, and that's what David HaMelech says. And that's why he said, Hillel said, Simchas Beis Sheva, Imani Kan Hako Kan. He doesn't mean himself, God forbid. He meant the Shechina, that's Ani, and that level is also by Simchas Beis Sheva. Okay. So he says, like, what did I say, 17 lines into Reeh Gimel. V'zeu in Mimayne HaYeshua, that's what it says. Mimayne HaYeshua, from the well springs of salvation, Mayan, that's the Mayan. That from it comes the salvation, the Keisha Bracha, okay, which comes to Keisha Bracha, that the Keisha Bracha should be taka a bracha and not, God forbid, hashpah to evil. Similar to what's explained somewhere else about Nevarech the Birchas HaZimun. Okay, it says, what do we say when you make a mezumah? Nevarech shalchalnu mishaloi. What does it mean, Nevarech? So he says, like it says in Reeh Mehem Nucha Zoyah, Binyan Makar Umayim V'chfira. You have a Makar, the source, you have the Mayin, you have the digging of the Mayin. V'berechinas Bericha, that's the level of the pond. Shedim Shechasham HaMayin and Vemi Makar. So he says, look, there's a pond that when you draw water from the well goes into the pond. So he says, V'zan Nevarech, what does it mean, Nevarech? Nevarech is the word bricha also, which means a pound. The meaning, laham shebechinas bricha zu, that this bricha, this pound, meaning this mayon, this level of malchus that comes down into the world, laham shech mimenu l'keisha bracha, should only come into case of bracha, shemekabel bechinas bricha, now that gets in the level of bricha. The bottom line is, what he's saying is that because Malchus comes into the world, Malchus gives sustenance to the world, evil can be sustained from it. So you have to make sure that this Nevarech, that this Bricha, it only goes l'kreis shel bracha, for bracha, not for strengthening evil. Zeu in Mimayne HaYeshua. That's the level of Mimayne HaYeshua. Let me see where this parenthesis ends.
Is that what we say when we say Nevarech?
Yeah.
That it goes...
Nevar Shachalnu Mishalei. Now this level we have, because you usually bench, if you have even 3, but when you have 10, you have Nevarech Shachalnu Mishalei. So then you have this Keisha Bracha, that the Nevarech, from the Bricha, from the pond, that the well goes into, should come only l'keisha bracha, should only come to bracha, not anything negative. 1 second, let's see where this parenthesis ends. Okay, so it goes all the way down to like 10 lines to the bottom of the page. Based on what he explained before, that Nisach HaMayim, now Rebbe at the beginning of the Mayim asked the question. Nisach HaYayin, the wine libations, are mentioned in Torah. Nisach HaMayim is only halacha l'mishmasina, meaning it's only rabbinic. It's not openly in Chumash. So until now, the Alter Rebbe explained why is this. Because Mayim is Torah Shebal Peh, Bina is Torah Shebiksav, so wine, which is Torah Shebiksav, which is Chumash, so therefore it's mentioned there. Nisach HaMayim, which is Torah Shebal Peh, which the Gemara says is more precious to Hashem than Divrei Torah, so therefore Mayim can't be mentioned in Torah Shebiksav because it's greater than Torah Shebiksav. So he said, Mashalinit, and they call it Torah Shebiksav, because it's the level of Sefer. Shalamayl B'china Sefer, in Al Derech Zeh. Now we can understand another thing. Now the Alter Rebbe is going to explain why Hakafis on Simchas Torah is even a greater Simcha than Simchas Beis HaShoeva. And that's not even mentioned in Halacha, in Gemara. He says, out there, that you've an in Hakaf, Shebishmini Atzeres, Shlei Nicht, to Afil B'Torah Shebal Peh, Ve'ein Al Minig. It's only a minig. It says like this. If it's in our language, it'd be called, the lower it is, the more simcha it is. You have a samachta b'chagecha. The Rebbe once spoke about going to shul, Simchas Torah, to make people happy, which is his institution. The Rebbe said like this: you have a samachta b'chagecha on Yom Tov. That's biblical mitzvah. Yet we see that Simchas Beis HaShoeva, which is only Allah al Mishim, is a greater simcha than Sukkot. Then we see that Hakafis and Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah, is even a greater simcha than even Simchas Beis HaShoeva in the life of people. And that's only a minig. It's not even mentioned in Gemara as an obligation. It's a minig to do Hakafis. So the Alter Rebbe is going to explain why the minig is even a custom, is even greater than Torah Shebiksav and Torah Shebal Peh. Then the Rebbe added once to it, and this that people go to shul to be Masameach people, that's not even a minig, and basically he said that's even a greater simcha than that. Yes, one second. Let's see what he says inside. Ve'ein al minig, it's only a minig hakafas. Kehem a makifim the abba, that's even makifim, it's the not regular chokhmah, which is Nisach HaMayim. This is the makifim of Abba, makifim of chokhmah, which is even greater than that. The kachla nit nuchta fir b'shay dal peh, which is pnimi of chokhmah. Okay, the card of the lesson. Let's read a few more lines to explain the whole thing. The card of the nizbar b'makom achir be'inyan tefillah sarvis v'shus. Okay, there's a machlekes in the Gemara in Brachas if ma'ariv is optional or mandatory. Because Shachris and Mincha correspond with the Korban Shachris and Korban Mincha. You know, they brought every day, the morning and afternoon. Ma'ariv was instituted instead of Korbanos, but the leftover limbs that were burnt at night. Okay, so there's a machlekes in the Gemara, if it's Minatayrim or the Rabbanim. Okay? So, by the way, Taisus and Shabbos says that even according to the opinion that says it's for shus, nowadays, number one, we accept it upon ourselves as chayv, and not only that, Yaakov Avinu instituted marriage, so there's nothing to throw away at the sides. Okay? So Chassidus explains why is ma'ariv reshus so simply in halacha it means it's lower than obligation. It's lower. You can't be obligated, it's optional. So seemingly optional is lower. Chassidus explains why is it optional? Because it's too great to be commanded. You know, Chassidus turns everything around. Because it's optional, why is it optional? He says like this. Like it says, Mokum about Ma'ariv, Arvish, Rishus, Shiam Shoch, Mamokum, Elyon, Ma'id. Ma'ariv comes from such a lofty place, Achena Serus, the Sat Magash Sham Kokach, that the Aved of a Jew can't reach there. Therefore, it's only the Shus, Ein a Chayva Mamish, like he said before in the Zohar. So the Rebbe says, now we can understand, just like we're explaining, that Nisach HaMayim, even though it's not openly mentioned in the Chumash, is greater then Nisach Hayayin, then pouring of the wine, even though wine is mentioned in Chumash, because it comes from a level of Torah Sheba'al Peh, which is Chochmah, versus Torah Shebiksav, which is Bina. Then he says, from this we can understand, based on this, that Hakafis, which is only a minig, is even greater than the simple base of She'eba.
If such a high level of people,
that's why it's greater.
it's so great. So why don't we say bracha on it when you're not thirsty? If it's so high.
Because mayim itself is not considered a food. Adrabah. Because it's bittul, it's nothing by itself. That you may, unless if you're thirsty, then you have a thirst, so you thirst. It's not them, yeah, then it's you. You're benefiting. What?
Salt and water are above the
Yeah. Melech itself, you can't eat salt. It's disgusting. Yeah? But salt is a preservative. And salt makes everything else taste good. So from one side it's worthless, bittul. By the way, this explains another thing that the Rebbe always says. L'chayra, Simchas Torah, first of all, Simchas Torah, l'chayra should be on Shavuos. Think about it. We got the Torah in Shavuos, yeah? So on Shavuos, we should start the Torah and end the Torah. Why do we dafke Simchas Torah? Okay, so that's not so relevant. So that explains because Shavuos is the first Luchais, Yom Kippur is the second Luchais, which is the level of Tshuva versus Tzaddikim of Shavuos. Anyway, so it's a higher level. So, but then the Rebbe explains another thing. When you finish the Torah, you should sit down and learn Torah on Simchas Torah. Simchas Torah, as we see, minig you say, yeah, you have to learn your daily shiurim that you have. But Simchas Torah is made for dancing. Now, what's dancing? You have a clothed Sefer Torah, and who's dancing? The feet are dancing. The head doesn't dance. The feet are dancing. And as people notice, many times the simple people dance more than the scholars do. Right? Scholars are a little bit uptight. But the simple people dance better than... So Simchas Torah doesn't make sense. Simchas Torah should sit down and learn Torah. Dafka not. Dafka close Sefer Torah. Why? Because Simchas Torah shows every person is equal. Because the essence of the Jew is the same by Moshe Rabbeinu and by me. It's the same thing. There's no difference. So forget, the greatness of Torah is that the Jews are all the same. And there is no differentiation like learning where one person understands better than somebody else. So it's dafke, and dafke with the feet. In the feet, there's no... In the head, you have difference between different levels of people. The feet are the feet. It's the same thing by... whatever. Relatively speaking, it's the same thing by every person. That's the adrab, the achtus of the Jew. And that's why the importance of a Yiddish minhag, and there's another interesting thing, by the 4 questions on Pesach, so most normal Jews say first chametz and matzah, then morar, then matbilin, and then mesubin. Chabad, we first say matbilin, based on Kabbalah, because the 4 questions correspond to the 4 worlds, it's mamata, lamayla, whatever. So the Rebbe said, why do we do matbilin? It's only a minute to dip. It's not halacha. The Rebbe says, because what does a kid see? What penetrates a Jewish custom? That's what keeps a kid. A Jewish kid is the minhagim, if you notice. What keeps the people, if you look at the Holocaust survivors, they came now, you talk to them, they're in their 70s, 80s, they're not even necessarily so religious. When you talk to them about the customs, that's what makes them alive, because the custom is very powerful.
Well, the custom